Spartacus, a name whispered with reverence by some and cursed with fear by others, belonged to the Thracian tribe, renowned for their warrior spirit. The rugged mountains of Thrace, located in present-day southeastern Europe, had hardened these people, making them formidable warriors. Spartacus, it seemed, was destined to follow in the footsteps of his ancestors, living a life intertwined with the thrill of battle and the freedom of the open plains. Fate, however, had other plans. We know very little for certain about Spartacus's early life, but one thing is clear. He lost his freedom and ended up a slave in the Roman Republic. The circumstances of his enslavement remain shrouded in mystery, but it's not difficult to imagine the paths that could have led him there. Perhaps capture during a border skirmish with the ever-expanding Roman legions, or maybe a cruel twist of fate in the hands of slave traders. Regardless of the how or why, Spartacus found himself thrust into a world stripped of freedom and dignity. He was sold to a lanista, a trainer of gladiators in Capua, a bustling city south of Rome. There, in the harsh confines of the gladiatorial school, Spartacus was forced to embrace a new kind of combat, one designed not for honor or glory, but for the entertainment of the Roman masses. Before his capture, Spartacus might have spent his days in a Thracian village, surrounded by family and friends. The Thracians were known for their close-knit communities and rich cultural traditions. They celebrated their heritage through music, dance, and storytelling, passing down tales of heroism and valor from one generation to the next. As a young boy, Spartacus would have been trained in the art of war, learning to wield weapons and defend his homeland. The Thracians were fierce warriors, and their training was rigorous, preparing them for the constant threat of invasion and conflict. The Roman Republic, ever expanding and hungry for new territories, often clashed with the Thracians. These encounters were brutal and unforgiving, leaving many Thracian villages in ruins and their people either dead or captured. It was during one of these violent skirmishes that Spartacus's fate took a dark turn. Captured by the Romans, he was torn from his homeland and thrust into a life of servitude. The journey from a free warrior to a chained slave was a harsh and bitter one, filled with suffering and despair. At the Roman slave market, Spartacus was just another commodity, a body to be bought and sold. The lanista who purchased him saw potential in his strength and spirit, deciding to train him as a gladiator. This decision would set Spartacus on a path that would eventually lead to rebellion and legend. In the gladiatorial school, Spartacus observed the brutal training and harsh conditions. The life of a gladiator was one of constant struggle, where survival depended on skill, strength, and a bit of luck. Despite the grim circumstances, Spartacus's indomitable spirit remained unbroken. He formed bonds with fellow gladiators, men who, like him, had been stripped of their freedom and forced to fight for their lives. These relationships would prove crucial in the days to come, as Spartacus began to dream of freedom once more. The spark of rebellion was ignited within him, a burning desire to break free from the chains that bound him. Spartacus's journey from freedom to chains was not the end of his story, but rather the beginning of a legendary uprising that would shape the foundations of the Roman Republic. The Roman Republic of the 1st century BC was a society rife with contradictions. On the surface, it was a beacon of civilization, boasting grand cities, impressive architecture, and a complex legal system that influenced many future societies. The Roman Forum, bustling with activity, was a testament to the Republic's prosperity and order. The grandeur of its cities, the might of its legions, and the sophistication of its laws masked a darker reality, a society built on the backs of slaves. The Roman legions, feared and respected across the known world, were the enforcers of this societal structure, ensuring that the status quo was maintained. These slaves, stripped of their humanity and treated as mere property, formed the bedrock of Roman economic and social life. They toiled in vineyards, fields, and households, their labor essential to the Republic's wealth and stability. The mosaics and art of the time, while often glorifying the achievements of Rome, also provide glimpses into the harsh realities faced by these enslaved individuals. The lives of slaves in the Roman Republic were harsh and unforgiving. They were subjected to grueling work schedules, inadequate food, and constant surveillance. The physical and emotional toll of their existence was immense, with many slaves living in a state of perpetual exhaustion and fear. Subjected to back-breaking labor in mines, fields, and households, they were denied even the most basic human rights. In the mines, slaves faced dangerous conditions, often working in confined spaces with little ventilation. In the fields, they labored from dawn till dusk under the watchful eyes of overseers, while domestic slaves served their masters in households, performing a myriad of tasks with no respite. The cruelty meted out to them was often unimaginable, with punishments ranging from beatings to being fed to wild animals for the amusement of their masters. The tools of punishment, designed to inflict maximum pain, were a constant reminder of their subjugation. Public spectacles, such as feeding slaves to wild animals in arenas, served as both entertainment and a brutal warning to others. Gladiators, though technically slaves themselves, occupied a peculiar position within this brutal system. Trained to fight and kill for the entertainment of the masses, they were both revered and reviled. Their lives were a paradox, as they were celebrated for their combat skills, yet remained at the mercy of their owners. Forced to fight for their lives in the arena, they were simultaneously admired for their strength and skill and despised for their lowly status. The crowds cheered their victories and jeered their defeats, finding entertainment in the life and death struggles that played out before them. For the gladiators, each battle was a step closer to either glory or death. Theirs was a life balanced precariously between glory and death, offering a faint glimmer of hope for freedom in the form of the rudis, a wooden sword awarded to gladiators who earned their freedom through victory in the arena. This symbol of liberation was a rare and coveted prize, representing the possibility of a life beyond the blood and sand of the arena. It was within this cauldron of discontent, in the gladiatorial schools and slave quarters of the Roman Republic, that the seeds of rebellion were sown. The shared suffering and the fleeting hope of freedom fostered a sense of camaraderie and defiance among the enslaved. In secret meetings and whispered conversations, the ideas of resistance and rebellion began to take root. The brutal realities of their existence, coupled with the constant reminder of their lost freedom, fueled a burning resentment within the hearts of the enslaved. Memories of their past lives before they were captured and sold into slavery haunted them, intensifying their desire for liberation. The tension in the slave quarters was palpable, as the enslaved plotted and dreamed of a life free from their chains, a resentment that was waiting for the right spark to ignite it. This spark could come from a particularly cruel punishment, a charismatic leader, or a moment of opportunity. When it did, the pent-up anger and desire for freedom would explode into open rebellion, challenging the very foundations of the Roman Republic.